my channel, welcome back to my tube. I'm Jessie E. This is Ravenclaw, and you're watching I'm here to talk to you today about a book that is very special to me. It came out late this summer and it completely knocked my socks off, knocked the breath out of me, took my breath away. It is so good, so fantastic, and the book is The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal. I haven't heard anybody talking about this book on BookTube, Instagram, Twitter, and that is completely inconceivable to me because this is the best book I've read of the year. In fact, it's definitely going into my Hall of Fame book list, which I'm sure I'll make into a video at some point. But for now, let's just get into The Calculating Stars. I'm so excited. So The Calculating Stars takes place in 1952 when a meteorite devastates the US. It wipes out the entirety of the East Coast, taking the lives of our protagonist's parents with it. Our protagonist is Elma. She's a brilliant mathematician physicist who flew planes during World War II. And the book is about her and her rocket science husband, Nathaniel. Nathaniel becomes the leading rocket scientist in the United States when, the East Coast is wiped out. So he begins to work with the International Aerospace Coalition as their top rocket scientist. Even though they were 500 miles away from the blast radius, their home was still destroyed by the aftermath of the meteorite. And so Nathaniel and Elma are taken in by Major Lindholm and his wonderful, hospitable wife, Myrtle. Nathaniel is stepping into his new role, and Elma is at home running calculations. And she realizes that the meteorite will cause subsequent environmental changes that will eventually make the Earth uninhabitable. Think about global warming on a massive scale. And while it will take 50 years before the Earth becomes uninhabitable, it still is absolutely critical for humankind to settle on another planet. Elma calculates that within 50 years, the ocean will literally begin to boil. One thing that I absolutely loved about this book was that each chapter opens up with a news clipping of what's happening in the world post-meteorite. And this was fantastic because not only does it inform you as to what's happening in the world, but it really helped you to get into the story as the reader, and it made the story feel real. So Elma begins to work with the aeronautical science program as a computer. She's computing the trajectory of these rockets that are being launched to the moon in order to make sure that everything is mathematically perfect. She is dry and sarcastically funny, but absolutely hilarious. And I loved her as a character because she wasn't the stereotypical cold, condescending genius. She was brilliant, but she wasn't condescending. She was brave, but not impossibly brave. Like, she was still very real. And her character was completely lovable in every sense of the word. I mean, all of the characters in this book are incredibly well distinguished. I knew who was speaking in the novel without even having to be told. That's how well-rounded these characters are and how completely established that Mary Robinette Kowal makes them. The story just feels like it's unfolding as you read it right before your eyes, and that's something that I absolutely love. I felt like the story was not only happening to me, but happening right in front of me. Not only that, the relationship between Elma and her husband Nathaniel is just absolutely hilarious. The sex scenes had me cracking up. Are we a go for launch? I confirm, you are a go for launch. Easy now. Let's make sure this rocket doesn't explode. Their relationship just felt so real, more real to me than any other relationship that I've ever read in a novel. Mary Robinette Kowal finds excellent ways to illustrate. Holy shit, did you hear that thunder? Sorry, it's totally storming outside my window right now, and I don't know if the sounds are carrying into the video, but it would be kind of dope if they were. Okay, anyway, Mary Robinette Kowal finds excellent ways to illustrate Elma's shortcomings in terms of race, and she grows a lot throughout the novel in terms of her racial awakening and awareness. Just because she is a woman who faces a lot of sexism and a Jewish woman, so she faces a lot of religious discrimination, that doesn't mean she necessarily understands what Black women are going through, and she's still privileged over Black women in ways that she hasn't even begun to process when the book starts. Elma's working as a computer in the control room behind the scenes while her male astronaut counterparts are going into space, and she too begins to wonder, why can't she? And it's not just her. The women in the control room are also asking the same questions. Elma begins to appear on television shows and radio shows. Despite her better judgment, she has really severe public anxiety, but she begins to advocate for women in the space program, and thus she gets dubbed the Lady Astronaut. And so much of the book is about her drive to become an astronaut and being consistently and systematically held back by her gender. And Nathaniel is not oblivious to the hatred that Elma experiences. You know, like, he gets so angry at how she's treated throughout the book, and you can feel his anger, like it's completely palpable. There were times where I found my own chest heaving when Kowal was describing the depth of Nathaniel's hatred. All in all, this was one of the most complex novels that I've ever read. There was so much going on in the book, and that makes it difficult for me to give you the plot. And so to summarize, a meteorite hits Earth, leading to a race against time to get humans into space. On top of that, you have Elma, who wants desperately to be an astronaut, and all of the brilliant, qualified women standing beside her who have the same exact hopes. These women want desperately to be a part of the colonization process and to be a part of just making history where women have been routinely and consistently written out of it. And meanwhile, you have many systems of oppression at play to keep all women back. You have sexism keeping white women back, sexism and racism keeping women of color, especially black women, back. All in all, it was a masterfully complex book, and I feel like Kowal did a beautiful job of illustrating all of the intersectionality at play, all of the different identities, meanwhile providing us rich descriptions of the setting and characters without those words bogging down the story. And if you're one of those people that is skeptical about reading science fiction, read this book anyway. The science in this book was plausible and never once felt fictitious. In fact, all of the science in the book is based off of real technological advancements that have been made by NASA, and so they're all completely grounded in reality. But technological advancements aside, if you're a Ravenclaw like me, you'll love the story for its creative developments and its intellectual components. The character development is off the charts. Even the characters that you can't freaking stand, like the sexist bastard Colonel Parker, are perfectly matched for bringing balance to the story. Like, I feel like Colonel Parker, even though I want him to die in a huge ball of fire, and every time he makes a launch, I pray that the whole rocket explodes, even with that going on in the book, I felt like he was perfectly designed to oppose and hold Elma back. And even his character was layered and complex. I found myself wondering what he was going to do next in the story. The book doesn't wrap up perfectly. There's a lot of unfinished business, which is fantastic because the sequel is already out. It came out late August, but I probably won't get to read it for quite a while. Unfortunately, my plate is very full. What is my cat doing? I really want to challenge people to read this book. Like I said, it's fantastic. It's the best book that I've read all year. I can't sing its praises enough. Even if you have a little prejudice against sci-fi, just read it. I'm going to be singing its praises until the cows come home, until other people are reading this book, because it's not getting anywhere near the attention that it deserves. The characters, the development, the plot, the descriptions of the setting, the relationships in the novel, the writing, it's all there. What's wild to me is while not a whole lot of people have read it, like the Goodreads reviews on this book are fantastic. Like everybody's giving it like 4.5, 5 stars. And I just can't believe that there's no hype surrounding this book. Please check it out. And I really want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Instagram me, tweet me. Let me know if you're going to pick up this book. And if so, as you're reading it, like please feel free to send me messages because I'm super hungry to talk about this book with someone. There's so much that I haven't mentioned about the story, and I did that very strategically because I don't want to spoil it, but I think that I've given you like the good meat and bones of it. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this video, otherwise I'm just gonna keep talking in a circle, in a circle, in a circle, in a circle about how much I love this book because I could do it all day. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.